He said Mustafa Karim. Actually, Karim is my son's name, and that is not mistaken. Mustafa Kasim Erol. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for the forum, for the invitation, giving me opportunity to present this paper. The title of the paper, Are We Doing Enough to Save the Environment? And there will be two main issues. First of all, to look into Islamic perspective on that, and after that, to move on to Gulen movement and their activities, what they do. First of all, Gulen teachings and after activities of the Gulen movement and what they are doing in Turkey. I think I'm moving like this. Environment and concerns, obviously quite important. There is increasing concerns for our environment. Global warming and drought and pollution, etc., these kind of things coming into our attention more and more day by day. There are obvious reasons for the increase of awareness. Obviously, media may be taking its part in it, but especially some of the activities of the organizations, regardless whether they are religious or non-religious, and they've been doing their part, like Greenpeace and Friends of Earth activities. People's concerns come from various motives and causes. I believe there are plenty of them, and one of them is quite important. That is the religious one. I think that is neglected by especially Muslims, I must say. While I'm explaining the Muslim approach to environment, I'm not here to compare to other religions. I'm here what is Islamic presentation and teachings and how it is implemented, whether we are doing enough or not. What are the motives for the environment awareness and Islamic awareness on ecology or environment and other relevant issues surrounding that? First of all, the ecological balance on Earth is quite important from the Islamic perspective. It is a duty as well as a responsibility for each individual to safeguard what is given around us. In Islam, each individual from the different perspective seen as guardians, what is called in Islamic term Khalifa. They have a responsibility and strict responsibility to look after Earth. And first of all, they need to act on behalf of God on Earth because they have given that responsibility as stewards and guardians. But at the same time, they are responsible to God in their activities as well. Among the many responsibilities, I think looking after the environment and the Mother Earth should be one of the most important ones. From the Mother Earth where we have come from and we are going to end up at the end of the day, in physical terms, obviously, in Islamic terms, we've come from God and we will go back to God at the end of the time or death. Islam and environment issue is another point I'm moving on to. Environment is given as gift to mankind, and also every single livings on earth and seen in the Quran as separate entities and communities and identities. And one of the verses says, no living creature is there moving on earth, no bird flying on its two wings, but they are all communities like you. Being a guardian and steward and conscious one among all these communities and thinking one and possibly talking one, when I say talking, maybe animals do talk, but in terms of meaningful communication and writing, reading, and passing the knowledge, that's what I'm talking about. And so they have the responsibility of safeguarding what is around us. To enforce that, and Quran also stress another issue, being sensible in our usage of what is available for us in the environment. It says in the Quran, eat and drink, but do not be wasteful. Indeed, God doesn't love those who are wasteful. So consumption is heavily there on earth at the moment among the mankind, but Islam restricts Muslims and to be moderate in their wastage. Obviously, power and greed, which creates a strong want, not necessarily need, and through that, and people they consume more. I think one of the prime motives and reasons for the consumption on earth. And I must admit that Muslims, I think they lost their sense of using the environment and what is available for us in a sensible way without wasting that important value. Because of that, and that nature has been damaged and it goes on, this is quite important and significant. But from the different perspective, also the creation theology, I'm sure that most of the religions do have the same point and sharing in environmental issues. Creation theology is quite important as well in Islam, and human beings and created in paradise, and paradise in Arabic term, in literal terms, Jannah, which is the garden. So it is quite important for Muslims to see what we have here as garden. And also we yearn to go back to that garden, and we try to imitate what is here as well. Oops, moving. Islam and major concerns, and there are plenty of them, and few of them there, and you can see climate change, global warming, sea level rise, and it goes on. And the balance in that ecosystem is quite important because of these things, and balance has gone. But Gulen, I'm just moving on to, is together Islamic and Gulen in certain parts. Gulen points at the whole creation working in hand with the rest of the universe, so, which is quite important to see that balance in the ecosystem. Although sometimes we may see certain events and happening around us, and it may look cruel, but it may have bigger benefits because Earth, like a building. Gulen also says that we need to be with interaction, with an interaction with the universe from the different perspective, and we need to see them as holy book of God. That is another very important contribution of Gulen movement in that sense. And because God sent us holy book in scriptural terms as Quran, but at the same time God sent us holy book in another format, which is universe. So both of them corresponds and support each other. Obviously, Gulen continues to stress on Quranic references in, tens of them given, and but in which the point is there, and Quran encourages people to investigate, to learn, to make scholarly researches, to build up a new hypothesis from new findings through reading the universe and environment, and to read the book of the universe and try to understand the secrets of creation. And here are a few of them. I'm going to only read the second one. Very in the creation of the heavens and earth, and into alternation of night and day, and it goes on. At the end are indeed signs for the people who understand. So we can see clearly that there are lots of environmental events in the Quran, lots of the names also at the same time for the chapter names given for, I've seen 10 minutes and lost concentration, okay. Okay, are indeed signs for the people who understand, it says. So basically, God communicates to mankind not only with scriptural terms, but with the sign language as well. Obviously, sign language maybe for those who can't hear and deaf people, but here I think sign language in Islamic term for more those who are more clever and academic ones. And Gulen perception on the environment, I am just moving on that one leaving. And this one example, very quickly, one of the foundation for the environmental project protection and research in 1991. They have plenty of events and activities they've been doing since 1991. They have magazine, they have ecology, academic work, and they have TV programs, and 2 of them in 13 episodes, each of them. They have various activities going on in this too. I'm just passing all of them. And also they've been doing forestation as well. And coming back to title question, are we doing enough to save the environment? I think the answer must be no. Although there are progress, although there are good things in awareness of the environment, I think we are not doing enough. And when we think of the population size of the Muslims, when we think of the operational level international of the Gulen movement, I think they are doing far little than what they can do. And obviously, looking after the environment should not be matter of should be a matter of believing and acting from that belief. From the Islamic perspective, it shouldn't be depending on the welfare of the community where we normally see. And also, there are a number of points that individuals and the communities can go. And in the last one, the awareness of the issue can start from individuals' faith, then it should expand and evolve into individual action, then into communal collective action, then governmental action, and possibly international action. And coming to conclusion and last part, another 1.5, maybe 2 minutes. Muslims believe that God created universe and all life on earth should be treated with respect. It goes down, some of the repetition maybe from the earlier ones. And also quite important that we are the stewards and guardians of the environment which is given to us, and we are going to look after and pass on to the next generation. I am going into the last one, and which is the Gulen says that one is looking after the environment and preserving the nature and the environment should be internalized by all Muslims. Increased number of the environmentally sensitive people among us can only lead us for the solution of environmental problems we are facing at the moment. And also, another important point, environmental-centered approach is needed in all sections of our lives, he says. And finally, I'm going to finish with the narration of the Prophet Muhammad. In a sense, he says, if any one of you has a palm shot in his hand while the doomsday is imminent, if he or she is able to plant it, she should do so and will be rewarded for action. I think Muslims should take good lessons from the Quran and narrations of the Prophet Muhammad. So hopefully we can have more solutions in that sense. Thank you very much.